Meeting will come to order. Utilities Board. We'll have a roll call vote, see who's here.
Vote.
Huh?
Vote.
Ashley, roll
Here.
call. Stan,
Yeah.
Jen,
Here.
Carla,
Present.
Ron, I'm here, so we're all here. Next on the agenda is Attorney Reed. Do you have anything for this meeting?
I do not have anything for this meeting.
Okay, thank you. The adjustment reports, we'll do them later. We'll wait till the audit's done on those. Okay, next on there is utility report. Mark?
So the first item I have is the lead and copper test results. They all came back good. Tested 10 sites. Next thing I'll do is reach out to those homeowners whose water was tested and offer them a copy of their test results. But they all came back good, so that's always good news for us. The State Road 38 water line relocate. So NDOT did approve the loan bid of $74,000 from KA Contracting. And I guess what I mean by that, they approved supplying the additional funds, so NDOT's still going to pay for that. I spoke to the contractor this morning because it's going to take some coordination between them and myself, because there will be a few residents without water for hopefully no more than a 3 or 4 hour time period. But we need to get that coordinated when the time comes. He said he's awaiting word on a project in Indianapolis that he's waiting to finish, and that will determine whether he does this water line relocate before the end of August or at the end of October. So he's going to let us know by the end of the week which one it's going to be. Water meter software and annual cost update. So Utility Supply, who supplies the software for the meter reading and what Bridget does, they stopped by. There's going to be an update to the software. I no longer will use the laptop to read it. I will use, the town has an iPad. Michelle's had it all freshened up and it's good to go, but now it will be done on an iPad. So I asked him what's the benefit to the town, because I like the way it's done right now. He said, well, for one thing, it will be in cloud storage. So I'm not sure exactly what that means, but the way I understand it is that means that those records will always be available for us to retrieve, where in the past they weren't. One thing I was hoping for is that since it's in this cloud network, that all individual homeowners or customers, if they chose to, could access it and just look at their bill, you know. But he said that would only be possible through a third-party vendor and at a very significant cost. So I asked him, I said, so what's the benefit to the town of this then? And he said, well, one thing that you'll have now that you don't currently have is that every month, because with the new software, you'll be able to see exactly how many gallons of water you sold. And I said, well, that will be a way to do a monthly audit ourselves and compare it to how much water we sold, you know. So we'll be able to track that, which is nice, rather than just having to do it. I don't know, I guess the only way you could do it previously was go through all the different accounts, but So I guess there is some benefit to it. But the significant thing to me is that right now we pay $2,400 per year to use this software, and that cost is increasing to $3,400 per year. And there is no negotiation. It is what it is. We have to have it with these smart meters. On Friday, September 3rd, their representative will be here to update the system with myself, Michelle, and Bridget. And that will be the same day that we will read meters. Usually we do it on the 5th. That is the Friday right before Labor Day weekend. But we're going to do it on the 3rd next month, just so that we can do kind of a test run and go through all this, make sure it works right on the iPad and that it downloads correctly. The way I do it now is I put a thumb drive in my laptop, go read them, download to the thumb drive, give it to Bridget, she downloads it. That won't be the case anymore. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but that's what we're going to learn on September 3rd. Do you know anything more than what I said, Michelle? Okay. Wastewater. So we've got the pump back from the vendor, FJF. It's been repaired. He said the cost won't be significant. There was some water that had gotten inside the motor housing on it. He didn't elaborate on it, but we've got the pump back. So really right now at Deerfield, we've got 2 pumps, one that was just rebuilt within the last 30 days and one that was rebuilt in 2019. Plus we have one sitting in our shop that was rebuilt, so we're good to go there. Streets, crosswalk painting, so we had our vendor, Straight Lines Incorporated, they went through and painted the crosswalks. And although they put 2 coats on, I thought it looked a little bit thin. You know, and all the specs say is 2 coats of acetone-based traffic white paint. I think next time, which they look better, but I think next time I'll try to get some specifications that says so many millimeters thick. I think that's how the NDOT does it, you know. Part of the problem, I think, is that we took the low bid, and the low bid isn't always the best way to go. His bid was $1,250. The other bid we received was like $2,200, which was from Bright Lines, who did it back in 19 or 18. So I think, are they better than they were? Yeah, but I think we kind of maybe got what we paid for because he had the low bid. One thing he would not do is paint that crosswalk out on State Road 38. And I asked him why, and he said, oh, well, my insurance won't cover it, but I think what it was, he had no traffic control. It was just him and another guy, and they had no way to do it. So the bill that we got from him reflects that, although the bid was $1,250, the bill was for $1,125. So he did take $125 off the quote because he didn't paint that crosswalk. Okay?
Mark, I was working the day they were painting up there on the old schoolhouse. And not all the corners, but I watched them set their stuff there and paint it once, and I was back and forth all day long, and I don't think they painted some of that second coat.
The times I checked them, they did, but I wasn't at every crosswalk.
Yeah.
The times I checked them, they did put a second coat on.
Because then they came and removed the things, and I was there for a time on that one. But
Yeah. Yeah, and I can't verify that they did, but at least the ones where I was there, but maybe that's why they did, is because I was there, you know. So, back to the crosswalk. I met with NDOT last week concerning these ADA ramps And I asked him, I said, are you going to paint the crosswalks where you're putting in these new ADA ramps? And they are. One thing you'll notice is that they have removed one of the two crosswalks there where the school kids cross here. So that's just gonna be down to a single crossing. So he said they were gonna grind off that second, the one to the west. They'll grind that off and freshen up the paint on the one to the east where there will be a single identified crosswalk. I think that's better. That is better for the crossing guard anyway, because then she's just got one and it's clearly identified, this is where you cross at. There was one and another one this side. So yes, they are gonna paint that, and I do believe they're painting all these ones, like right here, they'll paint one going across Dayton Road there, and one here. Okay. Any questions about that? No?
So there will not be a crosswalk right by the post office there?
No, it won't be on the other side of Market Street, crossing, have to cross this way to the cross market to the post office.
Maybe you don't know the answer, but why did they put a ramp in that curve?
I would say it's for the people going from one side of Market to the other. They didn't put it on this side. This one here is to cross Rick's Drive.
Right.
They cross the one that goes across 38.
But where that fire hydrant is, or you know, a little bit west of that fire hydrant, between that fire hydrant and the highway, there's a ramp there.
Just on the corner. Just on the corner. There's not a ramp going across, at this crosswalk, this side, there's not a ramp going out from this sidewalk. If there was, they would have poured a sidewalk slab. ADA ramps, we just talked about it. So the community crossing contract. So I sent you all an email about it, so I'm here to answer any questions that I can.
So to be, sorry. So just to be clear, the reason there couldn't be, like an agreement in writing before we signed the original bid is not because Midwest Paving wasn't agreeable to that. It's like we have to follow the rules, and the rules say we cannot, correct?
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
I think they're working with Midwest and with BF&S, and they're two reputable people. If they say they're going to honor that thing, I think they'll sign the contract and get on with this, and then they'll honor it. They'd be fools not to. In terms of their reputation, they'd look stupid. So, I don't know, what do you guys think?
I think we ought to go.
Yeah, I do too.
I think if you would then, after your discussion is finished, it would be then to make a motion and so forth so that we can move forward. And then, assuming that you do, then I've got some paperwork probably this week that I'll need for you to sign, Jan, so we can send it in to NDOT.
Want to make a motion? I'll make a motion to go ahead and sign the state highway contracts, whatever it is, for the full amount, and negotiate with them.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Ron?
Any,
Can you just get a name of the contract you're approving? I don't think you guys have approved the, you're, yeah.
Midwest Paving. They have Midwest Paving sign it. So we got a motion and a second. Open it for discussion to the council. Any more discussion? Okay, to the audience. Okay, we'll go ahead and take a vote. Ashley, how do you vote?
Yes.
Stan,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Carla,
Yes.
and I vote yes, so go ahead and sign that contract.
The last item I have is the landowner easements for the stormwater project off of Dayton Road. I've been contacted by 2 homeowners. One is agreeable with the easement. The second one is requesting financial compensation for the easement. So, what do you think about that, Reed?
Well, I think they just asked if there would be financial
Oh,
consideration.
so you're familiar with it?
I received the email
Today?
today
Okay,
that you were copied on.
yes.
That's the only one that I know of.
Yes, and that's what I'm referring to.
Okay. Yeah, so I think they don't actually live there, right?
No, they do live there.
They do, okay.
It's
But
their grandmother's house, and she lives there, yes.
they are the current property owners.
No, the current property owner doesn't. Her granddaughter does, or her daughter. So I'd met with the homeowner, the property owner previously, and she was positive about the project.
Right.
So this threw me for it was a surprise. So you did interpret it as requesting financial compensation?
Right, I think maybe she just needs some explanation on why the town's doing it. Because isn't it that, you know, it would be these property owners' expense if the town did get the easement. So the reason that we need to have the easement is to do the work on behalf of the property owner. And maybe they just don't understand that. Because I think there was more of, there's typically consideration for easements in general.
Okay.
I didn't see any, anything in the documents about compensation, so that's what I would say. So I don't know if, do you want me to talk to her, or do you want to talk to her?
No, I will.
Okay.
I will, yeah. Because they were wanting an explanation of where the easement was at.
Right, they wanted a drawing.
Yeah, which, yeah, we can do that. I mean, it's pretty well described in the paperwork we've sent. I can reach out to them again just to make sure they have a clear understanding of what's being requested and why.
So you've only heard back from 2?
2 out of 6, so 33%.
All right.
Yeah. And I think what I'll do, and maybe where I made a mistake is in the cover letter that I sent to him, I said, we're hoping to complete this project this fall, so maybe they don't, maybe they're just like, oh, we'll get to it. So I think I'll give them till, say, Labor Day, and say, hey, fall's approaching, and we'd like to move forward with this. Any other questions about it?
Thanks. Anybody else got any questions for me?
I have a question. We discussed the signs on Dayton Road. Did you get back from the county or whatever on that?
No, I think we should wait until we get everything completed on the road, because if we put some more signs up there, we're gonna end up moving because of the signage that they're gonna put up.
Who's gonna put up?
As part of the community crossing, there's gonna be signs and pavement markings as part of the speed table.
But that's only out to the original town limits. I think
Well,
Stan,
right.
they're gonna stop there, so they wouldn't put
They are,
signs on that.
but we want to, I think we want to see what that's gonna look like before we put our signs up.
You're talking about more on out the road, right?
Right, I'm talking
Yes.
about going out to the new town limits.
Right, so out there at Baker Farms, Is someone's phone vibrating? Probably mine. I don't hear you. So, so out at Baker Farms, so you're thinking put a sign to the south of the entrance to Baker Farms that says reduce speed ahead, and then put a 25 this side of Baker Farms, and then another 25. Is that
That's
correct? Okay.
And
So, go ahead.
25 going out too.
That's where I
Take
need,
that 25.
that's what you're referring to as far as the
Take that
county.
50-mile-an-hour down.
Yeah, I remember
We just need to have a 25 out to our new town
I mean,
limits, and slow that
If
down.
it's in the town of Dayton, you know, on Dayton Road, it should be 25.
that. Yeah.
I make a motion that
So are you wanting to change the speed limit? Or are you just saying that you're doing different signage?
well, the county now has a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit sign out there that's technically in the town of Dayton.
So do we have something that says like
But Mark,
the speed limit in the town is 25, so then we wouldn't really be changing it? Because
Well,
the town,
and remember Mark said before that we take care of now, we'll take care of everything out there, the county already told you that.
No, they haven't. We need to have an agreement with the county that we will take over maintenance of that 600-foot stretch of South Dayton Road. So whenever I reach out to them and say, hey, you've got a 50 going south out of Dayton, we'd like to change that to 25, they will be reluctant to do that unless we do agree to take over maintenance of that stretch of road.
I thought you told Scott and I were at the church that you check with them, and they said if we have the one half the road, we take care of both halves right now.
Well, that's just for the stretches that are part of Dayton.
Okay, but, okay. Because we didn't annex the middle of it, which
Yes.
was not right. We have the old part, but we can have our speed limit signs, and then you start on the other side of the church, you go on out there, and we have that now in the
Yes.
town limits. So where Stan was talking, we could put, except along the pond, we could put signs starting where our annex land is, going all the way down to our town limits, because we own that now. We could put them there.
Right, but
I don't put anything in the middle of it.
Right, but he had said, you know, we want to change that, the county 50 to a 25.
Well, you know, if the county wants to leave that 600-foot at 50 and go back to 25,
I know, but, I mean, you're asking me to reach out to the county to make sure it's
Right.
okay if we put a 25 on it.
Right.
And all I'm saying is, whenever I do this, they might say, well, we need to get this worked out because there's just this short stretch in here that's county. And they're gonna, one or two things they're gonna ask. One is, do you wanna go ahead and annex that stretch into the town? Or they'll say, if we don't wanna do that, they'll say, well then, do you wanna come up with a maintenance agreement like we have over at Battleground that you will take over maintenance of that stretch of road? If that's the case, then we have every right to put whatever speed limit sign, any signage on that road that we want. But I'm just saying that it won't be as simple as, yeah, go ahead and do it and move on. But you're right, I was supposed to get a hold of that county highway guy and I did not. But I will this week. So, just so that we're all on the same page and I understand, so we're heading north and we're looking at in between County Road 375 and the entrance to Baker Farms, a sign and a post that says reduce speed ahead. In between Baker Farm entrance and the town limit sign, 25. And then where there's a sign right now that says reduce speed, we'll go ahead and switch it to 25. Right? And I'll just take that sign and move it down
So
there.
we could do those right now.
So you can't change the speed limit through only a motion, you have to do it through an ordinance. The town code has all the speed limits listed. So you can, you know, if it's in the the town limits, you can do what you're wanting to do. It's just, we have to do it by ordinance. If you're just putting up a different sign and it's already, covered at 25, that would be different. But Marshall Taylor.
How will it be affected? The current ordinance reads, if I'm remembering correctly, from Walnut Street, Dayton Road, from Walnut Street south to the town limits is 25 mile an hour. So it would still read the same, we're just moving our town limits. So does that have to be in the ordinance?
No, I don't think that's changing the speed limit.
Right. So that's what it currently reads, so.
Okay.
So we're good to go to lower the speed limit all the way to the new town limits to 25.
Yeah, that's what the ordinance says, then I think that's how I would interpret it, and you can go ahead and put signs.
I think you need to talk to the county still, because to me, half of that is county, half of it is town of Dayton. I think we need to be in unison with the county on that.
Agreed, and I thought Mark just said that he would be checking with them.
So the wrench is that short section that the county has, property on both sides. Is that what I'm hearing correctly?
So my request to Mark then would be, yes, I believe that's correct. My request to Mark then was, after you talk to the county, is that you get back with us, not just wait for next month, but let us know how the conversation went, so then if something's different, we need to talk about it at that time to do it.
A couple things. When you're heading north, you're getting to the old town limit sign. It says reduce speed right there.
Yes.
So that means that it's then 50 from that reduced speed up to the church. And I think we at least need to put the 25 there.
Right.
So that we can do that immediately without checking with the county or anything.
Why don't we swap out that sign?
And then we can take the reduced sign,
We're gonna use it
clear down on the end, because it doesn't matter where it reduces, it goes down there. But between our town limits, the old and the new, is there any 50 mile an hour speed limit signs? I thought,
Not going north,
now,
but there is going south.
so at least that we get the reduced speed, and then get the 25 mile an hour on our old town limits, they can see it coming down the road, at least that will help a lot.
Sure.
And then if you can get that answer as quick as possible.
Yeah, I just made myself another one count, I'm not calling tomorrow.
So do we need a motion or anything?
Yes.
We still need Stan's motion,
Correct.
so that when he gets permission, what was your motion?
Motion to make the speed limit to the new town limits from Walnut Street, 25 mile an hour.
Okay. Have a second on that?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion of Stan to make the speed limit 25 from Walnut Street to our town limits, second by Carla. Do we need any more discussion? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. Ashley?
Yes.
Okay, Stan?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ron, yes, so that's a go on that.
I'd like to talk about, repaving the roads and the community crossroads grant. I would highly recommend that property owners that are affected, that have tree limbs that are lower than ordinance in sidewalk, covering sidewalks and roads, those people need to be contacted. You're gonna have a lot of trucks in town, dump trucks and paving machinery, and, those trees need to be cut back for those, for that construction machinery. An instance in the past where they had to finagle dump trucks to get around tree branches, and, they ended up tearing off some tree branches, and of course, we had a tree limb come down on the top of the dump truck and some things like that that was unnecessary. Had we been a little bit more proactive in getting those residents contacted and giving them a chance to trim up the
So
property.
maybe, Mark, you could go around and shepherd those.
So how do you wanna do this? You know, because not every resident has a tree that's gonna be affected. So you want me to go around and identify which residents have a tree that might be in the way and send them a letter?
I think something along those lines, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was,
There's probably not that many into the 5 streets we're doing, so,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's-
just wanna make sure.
yeah.
So those are just on the streets where we're doing the milling and paving.
so,
It'd be nice to eventually have everybody.
When we get ready to plow snow, you may want to do some more streets.
and who,
Send some more letters out, but
is it, if the tree's between the sidewalk and the street, whose tree is that?
so it's been homeowners'
Their tree.
It's all homeowners, no
responsibility.
matter what, where,
You know, the reason I question it is that last year, there were 3 homeowners identified that Tippecanoe County School Corporation said, hey, these limbs are hitting our school buses. So I sent those 3 homeowners letters and haven't been any limbs trimmed. You know, and they're even worse this year. Of course, the trees are growing. So, I think that we've done our part, you know. I mean, because of our policy of it being, it's from the curb to the house, it's your tree.
well, in that instance, that they haven't done anything, could we reword so you have a length of time to trim the tree? If not, the town will trim it and send you the bill?
Are they violating an ordinance,
Yeah.
or is it is?
Yeah.
Send that guy.
Well,
Yeah,
the-
so, you know,
We don't
that,
have an ordinance.
The ordinance talks about 8 foot above the sidewalk. It doesn't speak so much about in the streets, because they're 8 foot above the streets, but a school bus is taller than 8 feet. That's why it's hitting it, you know. But I do know there's an ordinance about the sidewalks, and when you walk down the sidewalk, homeowners got to keep the limbs so you can walk on the sidewalk freely.
I thought in that same ordinance, you know, 8 over sidewalks, 3 back from sidewalks, 8 over the top, and then 15 in streets.
I don't know.
And now again, there are, I don't know if anybody's been down at the north end of Conjunction in the southbound lane, but
Yes.
I bet those limbs are, I bet they're not any more than 10 foot off them.
It's like the county, you have to have, when we move these buildings, you gotta have them, I think it's 16 foot up and 18 back from the center line or something, but nobody ever, they never enforce them right now. It'd be nice if they kept it trimmed up.
if there's a violation, our contractor will do it, send them the bill.
I would like to see that ordinance that you're referring to looked at, examined, maybe by an attorney or something. I've read it, and, our nuisance foliage ordinance does not do a good job of addressing either one of those situations. I've spoke to homeowners before, but I've not felt that I really had the authority backed up by town ordinance. So I would suggest that we look at that, number one. And I don't know, this is just a suggestion on these matters. When it comes to sidewalks in particular streets, and I know I mentioned this a couple of board meetings before, all the jurisdictions I've worked at before, the entity, the government entity is responsible for the street and keeping it safe for passage. So, maybe it's a nice courtesy to tell a landowner, hey, your tree needs to be trimmed back, because if we come in, it may not look so pretty, but in the end, I believe it's our responsibility, whether we do it ourselves or contract somebody, to keep our streets clear. And for safety reasons, number one, and, vehicle passage, number two. So that's my thought.
When a tree comes down, like up at Taylor's place there, we pushed it back and everything, but we don't go ahead and go up and down the streets and trim limbs and everything,
Well, for example, where he's talking about a conjunction at the 738 Kobachi Court, it's, a bus can't get through there right now. It's basically a one-lane street. That property owner doesn't have the means to do anything. And that's a prime location where I think, just like North Dayton Road we did a couple of years ago because the foliage was blocking the stop signs, we paid a contractor to clear that out. And that's another dangerous area that we need to pay a contractor to clear that out.
Where did we pay up here to clear that?
North of Dayton Road, north of Clifty Falls, when they were obscuring the stop signs
You mean the
from
tulips?
southbound traffic.
The tulips?
I don't know what kind of trees
Other
they
side
were.
of the road,
Huh?
other side of the road.
Because I did all the tulips.
And those trees, they were way back off the road and different things, but the road curves there, and yes, you couldn't see the stop sign until you were around the curve. So we trimmed those back.
That's
Well, you
it's
can't-
kind of a prime example where it needed to be done. We didn't go to the homeowner and say,
Yeah, but these are trucks, like if they have gravel deliver or street trucks doing, we can't go along and just trim every tree up, I don't think, in this town. We could at least see what other towns do and send them a letter and see if they would do some, but, are they, the school bus can't get through, you can probably trim it up and everything, but.
Well, but we have more school buses, everybody shops online, right? So you got all these package deliveries, you got, garbage trucks, once, twice a week through a year. You got school buses also. Our snowplow truck, I haven't measured it, but I bet the top of that cab shield is close to 10 foot tall. And, I know some years past, we've had to request trees be trimmed or trim them.
I use that snow
Just-
truck
just
too
be
this
able to-
year, and I went on every street, it seemed to get untrimmed, but maybe there are some.
Well, in the winter time, they won't be as low because they won't have the weight on them.
Oh, we can start thinking about all this.
We can come out to the curb and some of those get close.
I think the philosophy of all the old boards and a lot of it is if we get into the business, start doing one tree, how many trees do we have to do them all?
And don't misunderstand, I'm not saying I don't want to be in the business of trimming trees. I think property owners need to have that responsibility, but we need to identify those two property owners and let them know our concern. And I had an instance a while back when I approached a property owner about trimming a tree branch, and he kind of got bent out of shape on trimming it, and I took him out there and showed him. I showed him the ordinance that we had. Yeah, he begrudgingly he would do that. Okay, I helped him trim it. I'm helping him carry the trimmings so he can burn them in a burn pile. And he confesses to me that that's the same tree branch that busted out the windshield of a UPS truck a year or two earlier. So it busted out the windshield of a delivery truck, and he's still never cut it. And then he's, cutting irate at me for requesting it be cut. And,
Well, we do the best we can,
so.
ask them, go for it.
So, back to where we started, I want to contact these homeowners that I think their trees might get damaged by this construction project, just with the letter, right? Okay. Hey, I was just looking for the ordinance about sidewalks, and it was 8 foot or whatever, and I didn't find it, but I did see this. So Dayton Road South, actually, ordinance 98-14 says that, and this is referring to what Reed said, that actually from 38 to the town limits, it's 35. So if we want to change it to 25,
Mark.
even though we already have signs.
Mark, that's not accurate, that's old. It's been changed.
I thought we had everything inside.
We do. That's not accurate.
Never mind.
Okay,
Mark, I saw something in 71.4, obstructions, and it talks about trees, but.
What would that be, would
Um,
that be under land usage or
Traffic, traffic,
traffic code?
chapter 71, traffic regulations. Is that what you're asking?
74.
71,
71?
chapter 71.
or you just want them to look,
I don't know. I can't read it.
would you like, once you have read it?
Well,
I don't even know, like, it's like talks about intersections and diagonals and.
Okay, well, Mark can look at that, let's move on here.
It might not even pertain, I don't know.
Okay,
Just tell them.
Mark, do you have anything else, or does anybody have any questions for Mark? I think we got everything. Okay, moving on here, the SBOA audit, utility audit, that's, should have been on there, cross that off.
Well, I just was gonna mention that we, talked to them and sent all the reports, whatever that they wanted.
Okay,
That's what I
good. Okay, public comments? Okay, council comments? Start with Ashley, I guess.
said. Nothing.
Just one thing, Ashley, did you ever check, did you ever look at the upstairs yet? Sort of determine what you think might need to be done up there?
No.
Okay. And then that concrete up here, if you get it sometime.
So there's concrete out here.
And,
Why not stepping stones?
well, you probably could, I was just thinking if it went from a ramp right up to there, people could come down and you've got several levels, you got the one sidewalk slanting a little bit, like 30 degrees, and you've got that bed with I think there's one thing in it, a big stone, and then you've got your deck out here that's up a few inches, and you wanted to put a rail around it or something.
Yeah, the railing, I wanted to wait till they get done with their concrete work out here and see what we're working with.
But stepping stones, you know, heave and thaw and raise and lower, and sometimes it's, just seems like
And
concrete.
we also have, the tree here, bush or tree or whatever, here on the other side.
That's, doesn't have anything to do with it, this is just between the wall and that 4-foot square, like 4.5 this way. We can look at it.
On the awnings, over the back door, maybe wrongly, but I assume you want something that matches the other side of the
Yeah.
awning? There's a company in Michigan that, I haven't got into details, but they offer that type of product. It looks real similar. I haven't examined it up close, but it looks pretty similar. So they custom build whatever size you want, so.
It'd be nice to have a match, you know. All right,
You know, if we're, while we're doing that, you know, part of our ADA compliance is to have one of our ADA access door.
yeah,
So, you know, we need to get specifications on exactly how this, what size that needs to be
yeah,
for that side door.
good, good. All right, anything else for utilities? Okay, meeting adjourned. Jen, you can go up yours.
Okay, this is a Dayton Town Council meeting, Monday, August 9th, 2021. Ron did roll call at the beginning of his meeting, we're all still here. So we'll move on to agenda item number 2, read.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, first is the sidewalk ordinance. So this should be ready for you to approve tonight. The main changes were one, that we changed paragraph D. Instead of just saying a straight 50/50 cost share, we put in the language, so we're saying that the town is gonna determine the reimbursement rate in dollars per square foot of sidewalk first. You know, currently it's $7 square foot, and then from there it's split equally. So that's really all that was changed in D. And then the other change is that we have it so that the contract will be selected by the property owner and approved by the town.
I got a couple questions. So, just to make sure this is how we want it. In paragraph D, the last sentence, so property owners are required to pay their portion of the cost to the town before the sidewalk's built. So that's inferring that we're gonna pay the contractor.
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea.
Usually, I mean, of course, we only did one, but they hired a contractor, they built our specs, they pay the contractor the full amount, bring us a paid bill, and we reimburse whatever is our appropriate portion, whether it's 50% or whatever that comes out to. Now, I don't mind it being this way, but I wanna make sure you understand that's what this is saying. You know, cause what you're saying is you pick out the contractor, show us the bid is $3,000. We figure out the square footage and say, well, out of that 3,000, we're gonna pay 1,200, let's just say. And, so what we need from you is before you hire this contractor is we need $1,800 from you. We're kinda taking on some responsibility there, where maybe we're getting into the sidewalk business a little too much right there, you know?
I think the homeowner should pay the contractor, we reimburse the homeowner.
Like we did.
Yeah.
The other item that I thought would be nice to be added is that paragraph E where it says, contractor must install sidewalks that are compliant with American with Disabilities Act and compliant with Town of Dayton Development Guide. Because that's how we do our streets and everything else. That kind of, and that's where I go out there and say, hey, it's gotta be this wide, this thick, this much rock base, all that kind of stuff, you know.
That's a good point about having them pay us half, because then, like, as we all know, prices change, so what if it ends up being more expensive, and then they actually owe more, because,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Let them handle
Our concern is that it's built to town specs. And if you built to town specs, we're willing to help you.
Yeah.
You know, really, that's our leverage to make sure that it is built to town specifications. I was just in, I was reading the paper, and where the big headline was, Delphi residents demand cost share for sidewalk upgrades, you know. So this is, it's not an uncommon thing. I think we're staying on top of it, which is a good thing. It's been a long time coming, but I think that we just want to make sure that we don't take on more than we want to. We don't want to be the contractor per se.
This might be a stupid
Yeah,
question,
that's fine with me.
but the Dayton Development Guide, can somebody just come and ask for that for free? Do they have to pay for that? So they would have to pay $50 to,
No, I'll photocopy the page for sidewalks.
Oh,
Oh,
Free.
yeah,
Okay.
hey, but they want the whole thing.
gotcha, okay, and they would be, okay, yeah.
That's what I did with him. I just
So
gave
you
him
wanna make
copy.
that change and approve it next time?
Or those two changes, you think?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Alright, Unified Zoning Ordinance 100. We discussed this a couple of times, and you guys wanted to research it further. So it's kind of, you guys decide what you wanted to do on that.
So it's now, I have Unified Zoning Ordinance 100 on here, but it's actually now 100-A because they actually made some changes to it themselves.
Okay.
I don't know if
I
that
haven't
matters.
reviewed that. I wasn't aware of that, sorry.
Yeah, there's just minor modifications to what they had modified already, just clarifying.
Okay.
I talked to Dave Hiddle down there, and he's, if it's okay now, I had some questions, but basically, a contractor, somebody has land out in the county and they got a building on it, whether it's a farmer or a small contractor, and they want to go, they're getting bigger and they want to enlarge their building, instead of making them go get a GB rezoning that opens it up for 400 type businesses, they're letting them get a variance or a special exception to build a bigger building, and that way they can control it. It's only up to so big a building for that acreage, so that's a good way of keeping it so they can't just slop anything in there, so. I don't know.
Okay. Then you guys just need a motion to approve UZO Amendment 100-A.
I'll make a motion to approve UZO Amendment 100-A.
I second that. There's been a motion made by Ashley and seconded by myself to approve Unified Zoning Ordinance 100-A. Is there any discussion before we take a vote? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. Ashley?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla? Yes. And I vote yes, so that passes 5-0.
Thank you. Next is Unified Zoning Ordinance number 101. So this is an amendment that would add requirements for a form-based overlay for the historic Highland Park neighborhood. So this basically provides some specifications for new construction. It only has to do with Highland Park and Lafayette, so don't see any impact on the town of Dayton.
I would move to approve Unified Zoning Ordinance number 101.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan to approve this ordinance. Is there any discussion before we vote? Okay, how do you vote, Ashley?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla? Yes. And I vote yes, so that passes 5-0 as well.
Just for the record, the 100-A will be 2021-11, and ordinance 101, unified zone will be 2021-12.
Oh no, we messed it up. Sidewalk was supposed to be a
I
lot.
didn't
Okay.
or print off the right one anyways on that side.
All right, thank you. Next is the voting ordinance. So I would recommend that we just put it first reading tonight, and then give additional time, and then actually vote to approve it at the next meeting. So we would just need a motion to waive the formal reading, since all we're doing is basically introducing it, and we're going to approve it at the next meeting.
Okay. I would move to waive formal reading of ordinance 2021-13, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances for the Town of Dayton, Chapter 37.15, election of town council members. Second. Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to waive formal reading. Is there any discussion before we vote on that? I do want to say that we're waiving formal reading, but this has been on like social media and our town website since we got it. So it's been available. Okay, how do you vote, Ashley?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla? Yes. And I vote yes. So that passes 5-0. Okay, anything else?
No, I just didn't get my invoice and monthly report done on time for this meeting, so just let you know, I'll get that to you next week.
Cool.
Other than that, I don't have anything else.
Okay. So next on the agenda is Reach Alert, and we had talked about, do we stick with Reach Alert or do we switch to something else? And then I gave you guys that list of other things, and a lot of them had free trials. I don't know if any of you tried them. I did send one message from Reach Alert regarding,
It was the hydrant flush.
yeah, hydrant flushing and payment plans, maybe, a couple things. And it looked to me, I don't know if you've had this, but it gives you like a list of people. And I think we had like 143 or 148 people. And it tells you like delivered, undelivered, waiting in queue. And it looked like a lot of them didn't get delivered. I didn't get it.
I didn't either.
Okay, so I don't know. I get text and email, I sign up for both. I got another one. And I may have only sent text. But I did also try, shoot, now the name escapes me. ClickSend. And I didn't send that like to everybody because obviously I don't have everybody's information and it wasn't like, we didn't vote on it yet, but I just took phone numbers of people I knew, and it actually was pretty user-friendly, and it costs like 2.5 cents per message that you send. It's $2 a month so that you can like pretty much have a number to send from. And so those were really the only costs, and you can like enter the list yourself, like say people want to sign up, you just simply add their email address or their phone number, and it also does voice calling. So you type out the message, and then you get a phone call, and even if you send it to voicemail or whatever, it leaves you a voicemail, and it didn't sound bad. It sounded like, not like a robot, but just like a GPS person or whatever. It didn't sound so bad. So it's $2 a month plus 2.5 cents per message. Is that just per message, like I'm sending this message and it's going to 200 people? No, so like every person, recipient. So I don't know if any of you looked into any of the other ones, or if you had any thoughts? No? Well, I would like to cancel Reach and possibly go with ClickSend. I don't know if any of you want more time to try it out. It's super simple. If you wanted to try it out, you don't have to put in a credit card or anything. You just pretty much give them your email address, and then they give you a balance of $6, and you can just mess around with it and send stuff. I don't know if any of you care that much.
Is that a motion?
Well, I don't know if there's any further discussion.
I don't care about Reach alerts.
How would you transition from Reach over to another system?
What do you mean?
Well, if you drop Reach, then you're going to let people know about a new system. How? Or are you going to take all the data that you have from the Reach and convert it over? And if so, who's going to do that?
Okay, so I guess I just assumed that like legally maybe you couldn't because those people signed up for Reach and we couldn't really sign them up for another one. So I just assumed we would do it like we did before, mention it at meetings,
Just-
put it on the Facebook page,
So basically
put it on the town website, put it on the bottom of the utility bill, and then those people that were getting them before. And I think when I counted, there was like 67 delivered messages. So, and it gives you a list, and I was recognizing names that don't live here anymore that probably would not sign up for the new one. So, we'll just kind of start over. And I was thinking use it for like emergency, like if Mark was like, listen, something terrible happened and there's bad things in the water and you need to boil your water, like send it out then, or
I think in the past, the Reach
Yeah,
You don't wanna overwhelm people with,
yeah,
with information.
right,
Otherwise, they're gonna pay attention to you after a little bit. So
sure.
I don't see a need for it. There's so much social media, news, everything is, the dog walks across the street, it's on social media 2 minutes later.
I think we need something. I think there's a lot of people that aren't on social media. We like to think everybody's on social media, and I can tell you that's not the case, okay? I think the personal contact of something like a reach alert is very beneficial.
So that's what I was thinking, since it is used so sparingly, like I think last year it only got used 13 times, and I don't know if they were all like emergencies or maybe reminders, or I don't know for sure what they were used for, but I imagine, yeah, it would be used very sparingly. But I thought for $24 a year and 2.5 cents for each message we send.
How much does reach is what it cost us?
$3 per number that signed up. So it was, I think 400 and something.
Per year?
Mhm. Which I think came with like unlimited messages and stuff, but since we are using it so sparingly, I don't know that that's like ideal for our town, when we don't have like a bunch of departments that might wanna send different messages or.
And what's this other one you said it was 2.5 cents or something?
So 2.5 cents per message per recipient.
So let's say there's 70, 2.5 cents. So it's like, what, $2 every time it's sent out?
Mhm. Plus $2 a month. So that's what I was thinking.
So do you want to change, try this one?
Yeah.
Is that what you did?
Yeah. So I don't know if we need a motion to cancel reach, like.
Does it go out by text and email or what?
So you can do text, email, or voice, or all three.
For that 2.5 cents?
No, but it is not much more, but let me tell you.
Is there anything legal wise why you couldn't go through your customers and sign them all up and say, here's an opt-out if you want?
Mhm.
I think that, you let it decide for you, so, you offer it, and you say, reach wasn't working, this one is or isn't working. If it doesn't work, you say, well, we offered it, I mean, I think it's a service you're offering to your residents, which is a good thing, But you also have to gauge what the response is, I would have thought that reach alert, it's been around for 2 or 3 years now. I'm surprised more people didn't sign up for it.
Probably 3 or 4.
I think it's a waste of money altogether,
Is that right?
because if you only have
Hold
300
on.
some people
Will
sign
you,
up,
I don't mind you commenting, but could you state your name and address for
Sorry.
the record?
Nancy Oswald, 762 Shady Lane. If this has been in operation for 3 years, and there's only been 300 people sign up, how many residents do we have in Dayton? So that's showing that there's really not an interest in it. People know how to get the information they need to get, so why are we even spending the money on it?
So, is that accurate? There's 300 people signed up for it?
I think there was 148 signed up.
And that could be multiple people per household too.
Yeah.
So there could be 3 people in one house that signed up out
Sure.
of that 140.
And I think that, I go back to that, you're offering a service to the residents. If they're not interested, they're not interested, And that's where you have to gauge whether you're going to discontinue or continue it or offer something different.
And I would agree, Jen, it is a minimal cost, but there are, I'm at work all day, I'm not on social media all day. If there's something, I remember you mentioned, if there's something wrong with the water, if I don't get an alert like that, I get home and I start thinking, I'm just, that might be drastic and small number of people in that situation, but
I know that, let's say if there is, someone hits a water main and there's now a boil order, you see them all the time, all the news. You know? So if there's a boil order, what I'm required to do is contact local media and then let IDM or the state know what media was contacted, so they know that we're making a honest effort to notify the public. So it's radio and TV is what it is.
I also
Yeah,
don't
plus.
watch the news.
Yeah, right, and that's what I'm
just
saying,
making
that's,
sure people see.
and I'm confirming what you're saying, is that, you know, people might not watch the news by the time they get home, and then they've already started doing their chores or whatever, and then it's like that.
I think reaching is a little more expensive for this size town, but if this operates very similarly at a reduced cost, for no more than we probably use it anyway for those emergencies, I think it's worth a shot to try it. I'm not sure about just automatically rolling names over.
Yeah.
I'd rather be given the option to sign up. If somebody signs me up, I would not be happy with whoever just signed me up without asking me.
So,
But again, I'm different.
I agree with you, and I don't know, maybe we can use the current Reach alert to alert people to the fact that we're changing systems.
No, that would be fair.
And you know, here's the website or number or whatever, and you'll do that multiple times.
And let them know how they can sign up for it. That would be, I think that would be a fair option,
Yeah.
utilizing
Let
current
them know that
system.
we're gonna cancel Reach and we're going to a new system. And
As
this is how you
of the
sign
date,
up.
do you know what date it was started in approximately?
I mean, they might overlap a month.
That would be fine, but
Well, we don't-
that would give me I'm just thinking as a town resident, if I'm just sitting out there, you know, I don't know everything that's going on, and all of a sudden, what the heck,
Yeah,
just,
so we
that
don't,
would be me.
so we don't pay Reach Alert monthly, and they're just kind of waiting for us to decide. So, like, I could, I guess, call them tomorrow and be like, thanks, but no thanks, we're going with something else, and send that last alert.
So are we at a point of just non-renewal? with them?
Believe so, yeah.
So you just need a motion, like, don't want to renew?
I did want to say with ClickSend, so the regular text messages are 2.5 cents per message per recipient, and then $2 a month. And then if you want to send pictures, that is $3.68 a month, and it's 4 cents per message per recipient. I don't know why we need a picture. And then to send an email is 1 cent per email, and then a voice message is 2 cents per message. So,
And I think that would be gauged by how many people sign up, you know?
Well, I make a motion, we cancel Reach and sign on to Click.
ClickSend.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion made by Stan and seconded by Ron to not renew with Reach Alert and sign up with ClickSend instead. Is there any discussion before we vote?
Is that a long-term contract with ClickSend?
No. Like a month, like just.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, I
We didn't know it was a 3-year agreement.
do. Right. Nope. Okay. So we'll take a vote. Ashley?
Yes,
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that passes 5-0. Next was Shady Lane cul-de-sac, but we're not doing anything with that. Agenda item number 5 was litigation with Mitchell Ray. This was just to approve the payment. That settlement we came to pay $6,000 has not been paid yet, correct?
No, it has, because, I asked Reed at the last meeting that you guys voted if I could go ahead and pay it, and he said no, the paperwork had to be finished, so I called Mitchell the next day, and he got with Libby, they did the agreement, signed it, filed it, and then he had let me know that I was clear since you guys made the motion to pay it and did the appropriation. So then I submitted the payment, and you guys should
So did you pay him yet, or?
Yeah, after he talked to Libby and everything was filed, he said that I was cleared to finally pay him, that you guys approved the payment and the appropriation.
Okay. Well, I think it still needs to be approved anyway, so I would move to approve paying Mitchell Ray. I'm sorry, I did not write down his Taylor, Chad, Manette, and Schneider,
I think so, yeah.
$6,000.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan to approve payment of $6,000 to Mitchell Ray's law firm. Is there any discussion before we vote?
If I'm thinking right, why is the rush, why didn't we just wait till this meeting? We've been at this for a year and a third or something, and why was this rush to pay this guy, to pay him so much? Why not just wait till the meeting? I mean, everybody else waits, and some of our vendors even wait for months to get a check, so why would we pay him ahead of time?
He waited a year and a half.
He didn't wait. The ruling was no. He sued us for a year and a half, and he lost in court. And the
We did
ruling.
not lose.
Yes, you did.
No, we
And
didn't. Read the paperwork, neither one of us won.
yeah, you lost. But anyway, the bill was now just determined a few days ago or a week ago at $6,000. So I don't know why we couldn't wait till this meeting. I think it's sort of a slap in the face to some of us.
Yeah, we don't,
And I thought on that email, I thought I saw some email or something that I didn't think we approved yet. I thought you couldn't write a check without approving it, and I thought we didn't approve it yet, but still, it's,
You approved the agreement for the $6,000, you approved the appropriation. I asked Reed, he said the paperwork had it to be done, even though you guys approved it. Confirmed with my attorney, he talked to Libby, they did the agreement, the court accepted it,
you know.
so then he said I was clear. I just
Okay,
don't
what's the
know
difference
everything.
though when we put an office in or something, we approve that, we approve the amount, but we still don't pay it till the final bill comes in and we okay it at a meeting? Why is this different?
I feel the same.
Michelle, I would say
I mean, it's
that
a slap in the face, I think.
there's a difference between your attorney approving you to pay something versus the town council approving you to pay something. But
They approved the payment, did the appropriation for it.
After this one, it's that heated an argument, that nastiness for a year and a half, I don't think we should pay it until we have a council meeting.
Well, I also don't think it's fair that you guys tell everybody that you won the case and I lost it, and that's not true.
Well,
Okay.
the case was pretty much, you wanted to pick the amount of attorney fees.
Let's just stop.
No, this is
So she
important.
brought it up,
No,
Ashley.
hold on, Ashley.
Come on, let's move
No,
on.
Ashley, this is important. She sued the town because she said that the clerk treasurer gets to choose the amount of attorney fees that she gets. We fought it because we thought, no, that's crazy, because right now she wants 12,000, but her or any future clerk treasurer could say, I want 20,000, I want 30,000, I want 50,000, and if that happened, what a bind that would leave the town in, right? So the lawsuit was played out, and the judge said, no, that has to be approved in the budget.
But it
Just
also
like
says the
everything
town
else.
does not get to dictate the payment, who it is, and all of that. So he agreed with me.
We
and
never
he agreed with
wanted to
you.
pick the person.
Nobody said that.
Let's move
But
on.
I didn't ask for a large amount of money. You guys had a contract, we had an agreement. Him and Libby sat there and went back and forth and spoke, and they tried to do a settlement months ago or an agreement. He was trying to lower his fees, and Libby said that you all said that you will not accept any amount, that it was the 1,200 point blank in the story. And it was, let's be honest, it was because of me, because y'all paid Reed $50,000 a year, and Scott has a $400 an hour attorney.
You know that's for something very particular and cannot be avoided.
And I'm an elected official, and I have the right to have legal counsel,
And then-
and Reed is the one who made me, or told me that I need to get my own legal counsel. I didn't go get my own legal counsel because I wanted to. Reed himself told me I can no longer represent you. So,
You told
It's
him,
not
you
the
told
finish.
him he didn't want.
no, that is not true. And there's multiple meetings where Reed says, you guys need to allocate more money, you need to allocate more money. or you're gonna go into court, and Ron's exact words are, let her take us to court.
And now we know that you cannot ask for any amount of money. I think that's very important to know that it has to be set in the budget.
Okay, and we're
Okay.
coming to budget, so let's see how this year goes for next year.
Yeah, we will use reasoning, and we will give you an appropriate amount of money.
Okay, we'll see.
And I'd just like to point out that also in the judge's orders, he said there should be very, very few times where you cannot consult with Reed. Obviously, when you
Reed
get a
does
new
not
lawyer,
represent me in it. That's not
obviously,
fair.
when you get a new lawyer, Reed is not gonna argue with your lawyer. That doesn't make any sense, for Reed to argue with your lawyer, right?
Why would Reed argue?
Reed is
with her?
agreeable to answer your questions if you have questions.
And Reed has made it abundantly clear that he does not represent me. He is a representative of the town. You said I can ask you certain questions, but when it comes to my duties, to where there's a conflict, you cannot represent me on that or give me legal counsel.
And there would be very few times that that's
Right.
the case.
That's limited to if there's a conflict.
Was
I
not last
have-
year.
I'm gonna show
You were
you
making up things that were
I have-
not.
the security system. You're asking your lawyer about the security. That's not,
Okay,
geez.
well, okay, we'll move on.
You guys
From
have
that-
Reed call Facebook and spent
All right.
hundreds of dollars for that. So
Come
don't
on,
give me that
Michelle.
crap.
Agenda item number 6, the American Rescue Plan. We don't actually have an update on that, except to say we accidentally sent the wrong budget year. We sent the budget that we approved in 2020, which was the 2021 budget, and they need the 2021 budget that was approved in 2019. So I had Michelle get that for me, and we'll get that resent. We're still before the deadline, so I think we'll be good. Just wanted to update on that.
Did we vote on number 5? There's a motion and a
Oh,
second.
you're right. Thanks.
I just want to make sure it's official.
Yes. Very good. Okay, so the motion was to approve payment of $6,000 for Mitchell Ray. And that was the discussion. Okay. Ashley, how do you vote?
Yes.
Stan,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Carla, and I vote yes. That passes 5-0. Thanks, Ashley.
That proves we won that case.
Right.
We paid.
Yep.
Ashley, if we would have allowed her to continue to fight that, we would have spent
He's being a
at
smart,
least
he's being a
6,000.
smart ass.
Yes, I know. We would have spent at least $6,000 to let her continue to fight and fight and fight after the judge said, no, you don't get to choose this. This was the smart thing to do to save the taxpayers' money.
Smart thing to do when this all started, and the judge told you in the courtroom, was this should have been mediated. It should never go before the judge.
And the clerk treasurer does not have a budget, so the clerk treasurer cannot ask for it in her budget. Just like you guys don't a budget for Reed's attorney fees, you put it in the salary ordinance. Reed's fees are not budgeted.
That was that.
This is the only
Okay.
clerk in 30
So-
years that's even asked for
Okay,
money for a lawyer
We voted.
because you can't get a
we're
lawyer.
moving on.
You
Okay,
threatened
we're moving on,
counsel.
we're moving on, we're moving on. Agenda item number 7.
Over a total.
Please,
Over to it.
Yep.
Ashley, we're moving on.
Oh, now we're moving on, okay. Over to it.
Ashley, drop it. We've moved on to agenda item number 7.
I didn't sue the
Ron,
town
don't
over an
feed into
toilet,
it, that's all they
Ashley.
want.
You don't know what the
Stop.
hell you're talking about.
Ron,
Shut up.
Stop.
Threatens the city.
I threatened,
All 3 of you,
but I didn't
please.
sue for thousands of
Stop.
dollars, Michelle.
We have
I
moved
didn't make a
on.
penny, I never made a
Guys.
penny.
Feed into it,
Come on.
Ron.
Got a bunch
Ron.
of crackheads.
800 and some odd dollars.
Ashley, please.
Everybody.
Stop.
Actually,
I don't need to
wait,
hear
that 800, I
No.
spent 400, and I donated it to the
Ron.
town for the flags, Ashley.
Like
Everybody.
So don't make it sound
Ron,
like that.
please.
Everybody
You're
just
worse than that. Carla,
take a
Carla,
breath.
it's okay.
Just take a breath.
I at least didn't smash the water meter and
Ron.
charge the town for it.
Take a breath.
Okay.
Back up. Let's Marshall speak. Everybody just
Ron,
breathe and
don't
listen.
lie, don't
He
lie.
always lies, that's what he does.
I
Just
know,
move
he's an
on.
expert.
Just stop talking. Marshall Taylor.
I got some estimates here for some work to be done in the lobby of the police department. You have several options. Basically, I wanted to get a new floor and do some painting in the lobby. I sent you all an email that has the breakdowns that I received from Nate's Handyman and also Elite Cleaning Services. I had Nate break down the estimates, separating the flooring from the painting work so that it would be separate, should we decide to go with a different route. Starting with the least expensive option to wax and buff out the existing vinyl tile floor that's in there. I got a quote for $200. Bear in mind, I don't know how old this floor is, but I think
Did
it
you
could
just
be.
send that today as well?
Pardon me?
All I got was names, did you?
I think that was just in his email.
It's in the email. It was not a separate copy. You only gave me a verbal quote. So that was $200, and he said, I can't guarantee I can buff out all the stains that are in that floor. Obviously, it would look better, but it would probably have to be done monthly, and I really would rather not have that continued maintenance or cost. Nate gave a quote of $748 to replace the floor and the baseboard and install a vinyl coat similar to what's in here, and the vinyl flooring would be similar to what's in Mark's office and in the entryway out there. So it'd be a vinyl plank floor that's a flat finish that doesn't have any maintenance to it. And then he quoted $1,240 to paint the walls, paint the two doors, paint the diffusers in the ceiling, which are rusty, and replace some outlets and switch box with something that's not discolored and more uniform. So those are our options. Obviously, my preference would be to accept Nate's quotes for $748 for the floor and $1,240 for the paint. This is just the lobby area that the public generally sees, not the whole office. Yes?
Does this include all the supplies? The flooring, the baseboards, the cove base, the paint brushes?
That's my assumption. That's what I asked for.
About how many square feet?
It's probably 120 square feet at the most, 100 square feet.
I guess bigger than that.
144, 12 by 12, I would think the most.
That lobby, the little lobby wall,
Yeah.
I think that's 10 to 10.
Can we wait? Can we mull this over?
Sure.
And would it be possible to get something from Nate that specifies like flooring included, baseboards included, paint included, outlets included, sort of like materials?
Sure.
This is replaced.
Yeah,
So you're looking for something that just says labor and material?
labor, yeah, okay.
That's what we
Labor and
thought about the window
materials
too, remember?
included.
Well, that's true.
I'd like to not vote on this right now. I don't know how everybody else feels.
Anything else? That's all I got.
Thanks. Okay. Allowance dockets. So we finally have the time cards and the allowance dockets. So I would move to approve the February 2021 allowance docket, May 2021 allowance docket, and June 2021 allowance docket.
You approved February's
Okay.
Yeah, my note, yeah, it's, you approved it, and then it said that you would do May and June at the next meeting.
Okay. For some reason, I was thinking we were missing a February time card,
No,
and so we couldn't.
You can do it again.
Okay, yeah, we'll include it just in case. I'm not saying we didn't, we very well may have, but we'll include it just in case. Is there a second?
Yeah, seconded.
Great. There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan to approve February, May, and June 2021 allowance dockets. Is there any discussion before we vote?
Where should we go?
Because I haven't had a chance to look it over yet. Okay. How do you vote, Ashley?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Carla,
Yes.
and I vote yes, that passes 5-0. Okay. On to the claims. So the first claims we have is for Bridget for her mileage reimbursement to the bank and back. And there's a typographical error in here. She's not got us the new one, but we've had this one for more than 5 days. Would it be okay to approve this with the stipulation that we'll have the corrected one? It's simply, instead of saying from town hall to the bank and then bank to town hall, it just says town hall to the bank twice, I think is what she said. That's fine.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. Michelle, what's the reimbursement rate per mile? 65? Yep. 56?
57.
Or 56, yes,
Okay,
sorry.
I'll say
She said
56.
56.
Okay. So I would move to approve the mileage claim from Bridget dated 8/2 of 2021 for 126 miles totaling $70.56.
I second it.
Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan. Is there any discussion before we vote? Ashley?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that passes 5-0. I move to approve Element Materials Technology invoice EFW 275402IN dated 7/31 of 2021 for $335.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve this Element Materials Technology invoice. Is there any discussion? How do you vote, Ashley?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that passes 5-0. There's one invoice from M.E. Simpson that is not on the agenda, but it was in the Dropbox that I sent everyone. We have had this. So I would move to approve M.E. Simpson invoice 37144 dated July 29th, 2021 for $2,250.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve this M.E. Simpson invoice. Is there any further discussion? How do you vote, Ashley?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that passes 5-0. I move to approve the following Menards invoices. Invoice 23362 dated 5/29/21 for $119.90. Invoice 25750 dated 7/15 of 21 for $18.22. And invoice number 26657 dated 8/3 of 21 for $90.75, totaling $228.87.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve these Menards invoices. Is there any discussion? Okay, how do you vote on approving these Menards invoices for $228.87? Ashley?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that passes 5-0. I move to approve the following Mr. and Mrs. Tire invoices. Invoice 00246, nope, let me start over. Invoice 00242-612 dated 8/3 of 21 in the amount of $48.20. And invoice 00242-110 dated 7/15 of 21 for $142.21, totaling $190.41.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve the Mr. and Mrs. Tires invoices for $190.41. Is there any discussion? How do you vote, Ashley?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so they are approved 5-0. Next, I move to approve Straight Lines Inc. invoice dated 7/23 of 2021, invoice 8829 in the amount of $1,125.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve this invoice. Is there any discussion? How do you vote, Ashley?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that passes 5-0. I move to approve Taft invoice number 3762262 dated July 13th of 2021 in the amount of $1,290.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve this Taft Law Firm invoice. Is there any further discussion?
What was that for?
The police matter?
Are you approving two separate invoices?
No, we approved the one for $2,193 at the July 12th meeting. It's still on here, but we already approved it. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, how do you vote, Ashley?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that passes 5-0 as well. And last, I move to approve the Tire Hub invoice number 169,55950 dated 11/4 of 2020 in the amount of $1,083.76.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla. Before we go on with this, Marshall Taylor, will you just give a brief rundown of what this is for? Because it's from November of 2020.
2 sets of tires for the police cars. That hasn't been invoiced, never has been invoiced.
So they got delivered here and invoiced eventually here, but they were installed by Mr. and Mrs. Tire, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and we did pay that invoice
Yes.
in November. So this is just, for some reason they're catching up on things, I guess. Any further discussion? Okay, this is for Tire Hub for $1,083.76. How do you vote, Ashley?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that passes 5-0. Moving on to the reports. All right. Do I have to do each month separately? I do, right? Okay. I move to approve the following reports from December 2020, the appropriation report, the bank reconciliation, the fund report, and the revenue report.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan to approve the report from December 2020. Is there any further discussion? Ashley, how do you vote?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that passes 5-0. I move to approve the following January 2021 reports: appropriation report, bank reconciliation, fund report, and revenue report.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan to approve the January 2021 reports. Is there any further discussion? How do you vote, Ashley?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that's approved 5-0. I move to approve the following February 2021 appropriation reports. The February 2021 reports: the appropriation report, the bank reconciliation, the fund report, and the revenue report.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan to approve the February 2021 reports. Is there any further discussion? Ashley, how do you vote?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that's approved 5-0. I move to approve the following reports from March 2021: appropriation report, bank reconciliation, fund report, and revenue report.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan to approve the March 2021 reports. Is there any further discussion? How do you vote, Ashley?
Yes.
How do you vote, Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that's approved 5-0. I move to approve the following April 2021 reports: appropriation report, bank reconciliation, fund report, and revenue report.
Second.
It's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan to approve the April 2021 reports. Is there any further discussion? How do you vote, Ashley?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so they're approved 5-0. I move to approve the following May 2021 reports: appropriation report, bank reconciliation, fund report, and revenue report.
Second.
It's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan to approve the May 2021 reports. Is there any further discussion? How do you vote, Ashley?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that's approved 5-0. I move to approve the following June 2021 reports: appropriation report, bank reconciliation, fund report, and revenue report.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan to approve the June 2021 reports. Is there any further discussion? How do you vote, Ashley?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so those are approved 5-0. And then July 2021, we do finally have all those, but I have not got a chance to look them over, so that'll be on next month. Moving on to the minutes. So we do have all of the minutes except the executive session that Reed's going to get to us, but the only ones that we've had enough time to read over, edit, and finalize are May 11, utility board and town council, and I sent those to the board with their Dropbox with all the invoices. There was a folder with final minutes. So I move to approve these final minutes, May 11th, 2021 utility board, May 11th, 2021 town council.
Seconded.
Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan to approve those two final minutes that were sent. Is there any discussion?
Those minutes have been edited?
Yep. How do you vote, Ashley?
With the minutes being edited, I'll vote no.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Of course.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that passes 4-1. So the other ones we should get to at the next meeting. Public comments. Are there any?
Adjustment report. Utilities.
We're waiting on the adjustment reports for the audit. No
Jim?
public comment? Oh, yes.
I don't know if it makes a difference. Nate just sent a new estimate, you must have been listening to the meeting, which I forwarded to you, that states labor and materials. I don't know
It
if you want-
does?
I don't know if you still want to review it for a while, or if that
I would
makes a
rather
difference.
wait, but I'm glad that it does say that.
Just throwing it out there.
Cool. Okay, public comments? None. Council comments? Ashley, do you have anything? Stan?
No.
Ron? Carla?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to mention that I talked to Mike Kleinpeter with Kleinpeter Consulting. They did our income study, and the next round of planning grants is in October, and so we are eligible. So he will be at the September meeting to talk about that and answer any questions, and so we'll apply for that and hopefully know in November if we get that, and if we do, it's $50,000 for a comprehensive plan. So it'll cost us $6,000. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that he'll be at the September meeting. Okay? Having no other business before us, this meeting is adjourned.
So is that an economic development plan you're talking about?
A comprehensive plan for the whole town.
What's that mean?
It'll be like a big deal, like survey all the people and what we want to see happen to the town, and
Kind of a community,
definitely a lot of community involvement.
not an economic thing.
Like the other councils did several times, community input on what they want to see in this town, stuff like that. Of course, those are thrown out the door. But that's what it's doing.